The gym smelled of sweat and silence. Fluorescent lights buzzed faintly above the hardwood mat as the last of the students trickled out. In the far corner, a mop glided methodically across the floor, guided by a man who never looked up. Elijah. More, janitor. Quiet. Unbothered. Invisible. Or so they thought. That he moved like someone who knew rhythm, not just routines. Each stroke of the mop held muscle memory, like he wasn't cleaning. He was flowing. Across the room, Travis Kemp stood basking in his own reflection. Third-degree black belt. Part-time Instagram coach. Full-time ego. Hey, mop guy, Travis. Called out with a smirk, loud enough to echo. Elijah paused, but didn't turn. You ever think about learning something useful while you're here? Travis grinned at his own joke. Were you just like sweeping up greatness? A few remaining students chuckled uncomfortably. Maya Bennett, a 20-something in a white belt, shifted in place. She didn't laugh. Her eyes moved between Travis and Elijah, already sensing imbalance. Elijah calmly finished his line across the mat and wrung out the mop. Still no reaction. Come on, man, Travis prodded, bouncing on the balls of his feet. You see us all day? Ever wonder how you'd do against someone like me? No answer. Maya's voice broke the silence. Maybe just let him finish, Travis. But Travis wasn't done. One round. Just one. Unless you're scared a janitor might knock out a black belt. The mop clattered softly into its bucket. Elijah finally turned. His face was unreadable, but his eyes, they had no fear. No anger. Just precision. One round, he asked. His voice was calm, almost gentle. Travis grinned. You're on. Elijah nodded. On one condition. Name it. No cameras. That silenced the room. Travis raised an eyebrow. What, afraid? Of getting embarrassed? No, Elijah replied. I've just done this before. Maya blinked. That line didn't sound like a rookie's bluff. That a tense pause filled the air. Elijah removed his janitor jacket and stepped onto the mat in worn sneakers and gray sweats. No gear. No posture. Just presence. Travis bounced in place, cracking his knuckles theatrically. Let's make it quick. Maya couldn't shake the feeling. Something felt off. Elijah stood still. Not even a stance. Just watching. The air shifted. Travis moved in fast, aggressive, showy, confident. But Elijah Moore? He did not flinch. He did not even raise his guard. Just stood there. Feet planted. Hands loose. Watching. The first kick came sharp and low. Elijah shifted an inch. The second, a spinning hook, whistled past Elijah's cheek like a whisper through silence. Not a block. Not a counter. Just awareness. Measured, calm. The room filled with the sounds of Travis's grunts and squeaking shoes. But not Elijah. Elijah made no sound. Behind the gathered students, Maya Bennett's brow creased. Something was not adding up. She had watched Travis spar dozens of times. His opponents flailed, stumbled, swung wildly. But this was different. Elijah was not surviving. He was studying. Reading Travis like a book he had already underlined. Then the flashbacks began. Unspoken but sharp as glass. Two boys. Barefoot on red dirt. A worn-down gym, where the only ring was painted on the floor. Elijah and Jordan, brothers. Warriors in training. Jordan, older by 2 years. Always louder, always faster. Elijah, quiet, deliberate. The listener. Their coach's voice echoed faintly. You fight to protect, not destroy. But it was Layla's voice that lingered most, soft and mournful. You never blamed the fight, Elijah. But I still remember your hands, trembling after Jordan fell. Jordan's last match replayed in a violent blur, a knockout he never woke up from. Back in the present, Travis shouted, What? Nothing to say? You afraid to touch me? He circled Elijah, arms wide. You people don't understand discipline. That's the difference. The words hung in the air like smoke. Elijah did not blink. No one in the crowd laughed. Not this time. Maya's hand curled into a fist. She stepped forward, voice steady but sharp. That was out of line. Travis waved her off without turning. Stay in your lane, Maya. Let the man spar. Elijah tilted his head, just slightly. The gesture was not aggressive. It was a quiet acknowledgement of Maya's courage. And, perhaps, permission granted. Another kick. Another dodge. Travis's frustration began to show. His breathing changed. Sloppier now. But Elijah had not thrown a single strike. The students began shifting. Whispers spread. Why is he not fighting back? He's just watching him. Is this part of it? Maya was not whispering. She leaned closer to the front. Her eyes darted from Elijah's hands to his posture. And then it clicked. That was not fear. That was form. That was muscle memory, the kind only forged by obsession, loss, or legacy. Travis advanced again, swinging for a chest shot. Elijah ducked, then pivoted with such precision that Travis spun past him, stumbling. The room paused. Elijah looked at him, not with pity, not with hate, with silence, that a different kind of silence, the kind that does not ask for attention. It commands it. Travis blinked. For the first time since stepping on the mat, he looked uncertain. Maya stared at Elijah now, as if seeing him for the first time. Not as a janitor, not as an underdog, as something else. Someone trained, someone haunted, someone who had waited for the right moment. Not to win, but to wake something up. The camera slowly pushed in, not on Travis, but on Elijah. His eyes did not waver. His breathing stayed even, still water, but deep. Very, very deep, and the surface was starting to ripple. Travis charges again, confident he still has the upper hand, but Elijah shifts, not dramatically. Just a subtle pivot of the heel, a calm lowering of the shoulders, a movement only seasoned fighters would recognize, one that signals control, not fear. Travis swings, air, his fist slices nothing. Elijah is already gone, standing behind him like smoke. The room goes still. Even the ambient hum of the fluorescent lights seems to pause. Travis glances back, blinking hard, then rushes again. Another combo. Right, left, kick. Mississippi, Mississippi, Mississippi. Elijah moves like water. Not flashy, not aggressive, just inevitable. Asterisk, asterisk in the crowd. Maya's eyes narrow. She has seen this before. Not at this gym, not from a janitor. Her fingers move quickly across her phone screen. She opens an old fighting forum, half abandoned. Types one word, Elijah. A search result pops up. Thread, the silent storm. Where did he go? She clicks. Video loads. Grainy underground footage. A younger Elijah. Stoic. Unbeatable. 5-time underground champion. Retired after a fatal match. The opponent was his brother. Dalaila's voiceover echoes from the past. You were never meant to fight for glory, Eli. You fight to protect. You fight to honor him. Maya looks up, breath catching. Elijah is not fighting back, not out of mercy. Out of purpose. Travis is sweating now. Not from exertion. From panic. His punches are sloppier. Less showy. More desperate. He sneers, voice brittle. You people never know when to quit. Elijah does not flinch. You think just because you cleaned this floor, you belong on it? Still, Elijah says nothing. A few gym members exchange uncertain glances. The crowd is no longer rooting for Travis. They are just watching. Maya steps closer, barely above a whisper. That is not a janitor. That is Elijah Moore. The silent storm. A silence drops like a curtain. Someone pulls out their phone. Another follows. Slowly, the energy in the room begins to shift. On the mat, Travis roars, winding up for one final hit. All of his pride, rage, and embarrassment packed into one swing. Elijah moves, but this time not to avoid. He raises one arm, calm, steady, and catches Travis's punch mid-air. It stops completely, like hitting stone. Travis gasps. And Elijah? Elijah looks him dead in the eye, still silent, still composed. But something in that silence speaks louder than any insult ever could. Elijah tightens his grip for just a moment, then lets Travis's hand go. Travis stumbles back, shocked, not from pain, but from being stopped so easily. Elijah takes one step forward. No rush, no heat, just quiet purpose. Then, one strike. A flat, open palm. Calm, controlled. It lands squarely in the center of Travis's chest. Not loud, not dramatic, but powerful. Travis falls backward. His feet lift an inch off the ground before he lands on the mat with a deep thud. The entire gym goes still. Someone gasps. Another drops their phone. But Elijah does not move. He does not celebrate. He simply lowers his arm, steady as ever, and breathes in once, like the storm inside him has passed. Maya walks slowly onto the mat. Her voice is steady, but her eyes shine. You all wanted to know who he is, she says. This is Elijah Moore, the silent storm, 5-time underground champion. He walked away after losing someone who meant everything to him. He came here to clean floors, not to prove anything. The silence deepens. Even Travis, flat on his back, looks up with a different kind of fear, not of pain, but of shame. Elijah steps toward him, reaches down. Travis flinches, but Elijah only offers his hand. Travis hesitates, then takes it. Elijah pulls him up, slow and careful, like lifting weight that is heavier than just a body. No gloating. No revenge in his eyes, just a quiet kind of strength. I used to fight for victory, Elijah says, voice low but clear. Now I fight for peace. Travis says nothing. He cannot. Elijah turns away, and in that moment, the mat feels more like a stage, and he, a man who has nothing left to prove. Then, a memory cuts through. Layla's voice, weak but steady, from a hospital bed soaked in white light, her hand in his, fingers like feathers. Promise me, Eli, she had whispered. Don't fight to win. Fight to protect, like you protected me. His jaw tightens as the memory fades. She had looked up at him then, not like a sister saying goodbye, but like a teacher passing down her last truth. Peace is harder than rage, she had said, but it is the only thing that lasts. Back in the gym, Elijah glances up. Dozens of eyes watch him differently now, no longer seeing a janitor or even a fighter, but something harder to name, a man who chose to break a cycle instead of join it. Travis stood still, shoulders tense, as Elijah walked away. The students around the mat were silent, stunned. Some stared at Travis in disbelief. Others looked down, ashamed. A few quietly gathered their gear and walked out without a word. The silence said more than shouting ever could. In the corner, one teenager slowly lowered his phone. He had recorded everything. He had ignored the no cameras rule. But now, the footage was already uploading. Within hours, the internet exploded. The silent storm humbles a loudmouth instructor. Janitor with a past teaches brutal lesson in grace. Clips spread like fire, not because of the punch, but because of what came after. The way Elijah stood still, the way he helped Travis up, the way he said, I fight for peace. People were not just watching a fight, they were watching restraint, dignity, quiet strength. The gym, whispers turned into conversations. Conversations into confrontations. Maya stormed into the office the next morning. Her voice was sharp, but her purpose was clear. You let him bully people, she said to the gym manager. You let him run this place with fear. And now, it is on every screen. The manager looked pale. He tried to say it had been a misunderstanding, but Maya shook her head. You knew. You just did not care until now. That afternoon, Travis stood in front of the class. He looked smaller than no belt, no bravado, just a man with nothing left to hide behind. Elijah stood off to the side, broom in hand. Like always, Travis turned toward him. I owe you an apology, he said, voice low but clear. I disrespected you, judged you by what you wore or where you stood. I thought you were less. Elijah did not blink. I was wrong. Travis continued. You did not just teach me a lesson on that mat. You showed me what real power looks like. Everyone waited for Elijah to speak. He walked forward, slow and steady, and looked Travis in the eye. I accept your apology, Elijah said. Not because I need it, but because peace starts with forgiveness. And I choose peace. There was no applause, no cheering, only stillness, the kind that settles in after something sacred has happened. Elijah turned, walked back to the broom he had leaned against the wall, picked it up, and with the same calm he had used to disarm a man twice his size, he began sweeping the mat, slow motion, each step quiet, each motion deliberate. Dust faded behind him as the floor gleamed beneath. In a world that loved noise, Elijah had reminded everyone that silence, when rooted in purpose, could shake the ground. The mat was freshly swept. The silence in the gym no longer felt awkward. It felt earned. Elijah had returned to his quiet routine, just as before. No titles, no expectations, but things had changed. One morning, the gym owner approached him, holding an envelope and a hesitant smile. We would like you to consider staying, he said. Not as a janitor. Elijah looked up, still sweeping. The manager cleared his throat. Instructor of philosophy and control techniques. We believe your lessons go beyond the physical. Elijah said nothing at first, just leaned the broom against the wall like setting down an old truth. That afternoon, Maya found him sitting alone on the back steps behind the building, eating lunch with a worn thermos and distant eyes. She sat beside him, knees brushing. "They want me to teach," he said. Maya smiled. "You should." Elijah looked at his hands, rough from work, steady from years of discipline. "I do not know if I am that man anymore." She shook her head. "You were always that man. You just forgot." He turned to her, unsure. "You were always meant to teach," Maya said gently. "Not just clean." Her words stayed with him. That night, Elijah sat in the dark gym long after everyone left. He moved through slow kata forms alone, not to impress, but to remember. Across town, Travis trained. Alone too, stripped of audience, stripped of pride. For the first time in years, he moved without the need to dominate. Every strike was slower. Every breath deeper. He was not the same. And that was the point. Word spread quickly. Some students never returned. Others stayed, drawn not to strength, but to integrity. And over the next few weeks, the gym's energy shifted. It started small. Shoes neatly lined up outside the mat. Phones put away without being asked. Students bowed deeper, listened longer. The air carried something new. Not fear, not performance, but respect. Maya thrived in it. She trained harder than ever. Not because she wanted to win, but because she wanted to understand. Elijah's lessons were quiet but sharp, like water cutting through stone. He never raised his voice, but no one ever missed a word. He taught the way he moved, with precision, intention, and stillness. One Saturday, after class, Maya lingered as he packed up. "Who taught you all this?" she asked. Elijah paused, and, for the first time, his mind reached back. Years ago, another gym, smaller, warmer. Jordan's laugh. Layla's hands clapping as children bowed after sparring. Elijah, younger then, barefoot on worn mats, guiding kids through drills with quiet encouragement. Layla had once said, "You teach with your silence, Eli. They hear you anyway." He smiled. At the memory, back in the present, Elijah nodded slowly. "People I carry with me." Maya tilted her head. "Do they know how far you came?" Elijah looked at the floor, then at her. "Maybe they do." She smiled. Elijah turned off the lights. Outside, the city moved fast. But inside those walls, something slower had taken root. Not just redemption. Not just growth. A return to purpose. Juim. Early morning. Sunlight spills gently through the wide gym windows. The floor, once echoing with loud sparring and shouting, now holds a deeper stillness. Elijah stands barefoot on the mat, eyes closed, breathing slow and steady. Around him, a small group of youth mirrors his movement, following his rhythm. Hands open, shoulders relaxed, each of them grounded in quiet presence. The room feels less like a fight club, more like a temple. Some storms do not make noise. They do not come crashing in. They arrive gently, shift everything, and leave behind stillness. Maya watches from the corner, leaning against the wall, arms folded, but her expression is soft, not guarded. There's respect in her eyes now. Just then, a quiet figure appears at the entrance. Travis. No gym gear, no swagger, no noise. Just a man standing still, hands by his side, watching. He does not interrupt. He does not speak. He simply bows his head. Elijah catches it out of the corner of his eye. But he does not respond with a nod, or a look, or a gesture. He responds with stillness. That same centered calm that had carried him through every storm before. The youth class finishes their movement sequence. Elijah steps forward, speaks just once, his voice low, clear, almost reverent. Elijah. True strength is not in the fists, but in the restraint. No one claps. No one cheers. They do not need to. Juim. Later that morning, the mats have been rolled up. Students have gone home. Elijah is alone now. He picks up a broom. Same one as always, same motion, back and forth across the floor. The only sound is the soft swish of bristles against polished wood. But this time, it is not silence born from hiding. It is peace, full circle.